Hi, Paul Gorney from Luxury Living in Chicago. I'm going to talk today about some of the biggest mistakes that you can make when you're buying property in Chicago. Consider the source of your information when you're looking online, watching videos, or getting someone to help you. I'm one of the top selling agents in the entire Chicago area. I've sold close to 1,000 homes on my own over the last 30 years, and am trusted by a lot of our top companies, professional athletes, and just a lot of people that have trusted me over the years. So reach out if you have any questions, email, call, text. I'm always available. So let's talk about Chicago and moving here. Behind me, you will see Lake Michigan. I'm on a property right now that is I'm just putting up for sale. For this one happens to be higher end, $4 million. Someone will probably put a big addition on it. It has lake access. So just an example of a property here on the lakefront in Chicago. So when you're moving to Chicago, whether you're coming from out of the country, out of town, coming back home, the number one thing that people can get thrown off on is by kind of randomly selecting a realtor. So make sure, getting a real estate license is about a 30 to 60 day thing, but actually being someone trusted and knows what they're doing is another. So number one thing. Number two is not really understanding where we are in the market cycle. So right now, currently, we're at one of the highest points in the history of Chicago, price-wise, and I've seen these situations play out, so I can kind of tell who's going to be caught holding the bag in a few years. There definitely will be some people losing money, and some of them know it, some of them don't. And you really need to understand the type of property, the neighborhood, the point of development in the neighborhood, how far along it is, how insulated that neighborhood or suburb typically is when things drop. Like after the crash in '08, the appraisers I spoke to said they had to just take off a percentage in certain neighborhoods, certain suburbs. Some was very little, like Lincoln Park, for example. Very minimal deductions. On other neighborhoods was far greater. So you really need to understand your surroundings and not just take things at face value. So the third thing is understanding the school system, how that relates to kids having friends. If you want to move later, if you're in a condo, townhome, you want to move to a single family. If you want to add on to a house, or you want to buy a newer house. If you are going to be making a move in the future, and understanding the dynamics of the school system, private, public, whether or not you'd move to the suburbs, the kids' friendships, how those things might change. These are things that I see people overlook sometimes. They're really big deals. So another thing is commute. Sometimes people, especially now, will get confident that they can work from home. They will have a certain train or bus that gets them downtown or where they need to go. And you really need to understand the realities of driving versus public transportation, commuter train versus CTA. Sometimes people change what they like. They change, their needs as far as how long they want a commute to be, or how often they have to go home, or things like this. If their family's going to come visit them at work, you really need to understand the realities of how this works out, because I've seen people be surprised and move because of it, which can, take a financial toll depending on the house you bought, how long you've had it, things like that. So these are some of the big things you want to be aware of. The other thing to be aware of is what the neighborhood, what the community is really like. Like, what are your needs? What's it going to be like? Are there block parties? Are there get-togethers? What are the people like? How are things going to map out as far as, again, schools, activities for kids, whether it be soccer, baseball? What are the dynamics of the area? Like many times it gets down to a block by block situation where you really need to understand these things. Again, I've seen people move, other people's clients, where they really didn't understand things like this, and they move. Sell their house, buy another house, pack up everything, move. Sometimes pull the kids out of school and put them in a different school. These are things you really need to understand. And the biggest thing you need to understand is, what's going to happen at your time markers. So you're going to say they're 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. What's your best guess? And what do those scenarios look like for you? So I know the nature of these areas and how things can work out, how much you should put in construction costs if you're going to do that. Should you buy new construction? How does that usually perform over the last 10 years or so? Again, with the new construction in certain areas, I've seen people lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because they bought the wrong type of house from the wrong builder, things like this, and they don't really understand like how stable, how firm a ground they're on for the type of property they purchase. So these are things that you really want to understand, and make sure that you think about all this, with a real serious source of information, credible source that with lots of experience that can help you figure this out in advance. So you want to just nail it the first time, not have any financial impact or impact on kids or family or inconveniences. So just give a call, text if you need any help figuring some of this out, even if you have just preliminary questions. Happy to help in Chicago or the north side of Chicago or the northern suburbs. I know them all like the back of my hand for the last 30 years. Thanks.